Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Live from the Austrian Alps. Rabbi Sai, we're holding today's daf Samach Beis, 3 words before Samach Beis Amud Aleph. Very easy daf. We're talking about birds today. Birds that we are actually very familiar with. And I had the schus of seeing some of them today. Omer Rav Nachman, Haya Baki Bohem Ubishmoisem. Comes Rav Nachman and says a chiddush. We learned yesterday that out of the tens of thousands of birds we have in the world, hundreds of thousands of birds, 10,000 species, only 24 birds are treif. 24. If a bird has one of the 4 simoni kashrus, he's kosher. What are the 4 simoni kashrus? Here they are. The etzba, they have extra etzba, zepek, doires, kurkavan. If I can find it, and it's not very far below, here's the 4, right over here. Geshmak did a phenomenal job on it. The zepek, you see that first pouch. The kurkavan niklaf is the second pouch. You can peel it off. I showed you the video yesterday. The etzba yisera has an extra finger in the back, and it's not a doiris. According to Rashi, yesterday means that it eats with its mouth versus with its hand. He doesn't put the food in like a human being. An eagle, an owl, they'll take the food and they put it in their mouth. Pigeon does not. So those are the 4 simon. If you have one out of the 4, kosher. So says Rav Nachman, there's only 2 birds in the whole Torah that have one psul, one kosher, one out of the 4, and that's a peres and ozniah. If you're familiar with them, and the second rule is you have to be familiar with their names, not only with them, but with their names. If you have a bird that has one siman, tahar. If you're not a professional in the peres and ozniah, the only person alive today that's a professional in peres and ozniah is Gershi Rose from Manchester. He's a Bucky. He said so himself. He said he knows what they are. He thinks he knows what they are. If you're not Gershi Rose, don't even mess around. Azoi Geitas. That's what the Gemara says over here. Like me, I don't claim to be a professional. Sham, she's certainly not a professional. How do I know? Because he walked up 1,400 steps today. So, if you're not a professional, the only maybe what you're looking at is a peres and ozniah. So therefore, it would be tummy. However, if you see that it has 2 simoni kashrus out of the 4, automatically it's tar. Vushiyakir oirev. That's not as hard as a peres and ozniah. The oirev is the common raven that we have today, the black raven. If you find a bird that has 2 simonim, let's say it has a zepek and a kurkavan niklef, and you know that it's not a raven. How do I know it's not a raven? Because it's this big and has a beak that goes like this, and it stands on one leg. It's not a raven. Maybe it's a flamingo. Maybe it's something else. I know it's not a raven, but it has 2 simonim, kosher. I don't have to worry about it. Ask the Gemara, v'sulai. What? There's no other bird that has 2 simonim. Oirev v'sulai, v'tanya. Oirev ze oirev. Leminoi. It's an interesting pasuk. Why does the pasuk say leminoi? Meaning, and it's whole mishpacha, the whole clan. So when it says oirev, okay, it means a raven. Leminoi, what does leminoi mean? It says zarzir. Oh, zarzir is a sterling. And the Gemara understands that a sterling has 2 simonim, but they're different than the 2 simonim of a raven. Yet, the Gemara is going to say that it's the same family as the raven. They have what we call a zepek, which the raven does not have. If I said yesterday the raven has, mistake. So why do people eat it? So I'll tell you, I've come across it many times, even in this hotel. You ask somebody, why do you do X, Y, Z? You know, la'alach, you're not allowed to do it. So they tell you, we have a minig. This is a nar mishpacha. Say, but okay, but you know, the Shulchan Aruch says you shouldn't. I don't know. Minig of asani b'yadaini. Don't ask me questions. You don't know what you're talking about. Very stark about it. the whole city eats this bird, this sterling. Now, what is a sterling? Let me show you, because sterlings are pretty cool. There are people that are familiar, let's say, with this one on the left. That's a typical sterling, I think. But there's one on the right. In fact, Mark Ashkenazi sent me a picture of that exact one on the right, and even the one on the left, I think. We had it on the safari. Let me see if I can find this picture. Here. This, I guess, he took from the MDY safari trip. It's very cool, this bird. It's not pashut. The colors are phenomenal. And here it is. It's beautiful. The eye looks fake, no? Omar Lohen. So they said, oh, Vahaloi. This is very important, I think, seriously. Take this seriously. All these people in the city, they all eat sterlings. Why? The Talmid Chacham, they said, listen, the Gemara says if you have one siman kosher, you could eat. Here, the sterling has one siman kosher, we're eating. So what if everybody eats it? They're gonna pay for their aveira. Davar acher, another way to learn it is limineu. It says in the pasuk limineu lahavi snunis levana. So this is another fascinating bird called a swallow. Here it is, snus levana. Now you might not realize, but they're everywhere. They have them in Shemesh, they have them in New York, they have them here in the Alps. So says the Gemara, limineu, that when the oirev, this is the mishpacha of the raven, this swallow. Limineu, lavi snunis levana, the white one. Here, another story. The people from Galil, the upper Galil, they eat it. It has an easy gizzard to peel. So what if everybody eats it? So what if some people hold that once the minig already came in, so Mela, it's already, the Rebbeinu Shalom is not going to punish on it, and it's already, sometimes yes, sometimes not. It's not clear. Usually not. Okay, Eloirev says. So the question is, why are you telling me it's a one bird called the raven? Only the raven has two simbarim. We have other ones. Eloirev chol min oirev. This swallow or this sterling, either way you learn, is a type. It's the min of oirev. So it comes out very interesting that even though they're mishpacha, they have some things in common, like they have two kosher simanim, but they're different than kosher simanim. So you think, oh, it's the same mishpacha, they have the same genetic defect or whatever, the same build. No, they have different types of simanim. Zog the Gemara, Omar Meimar, Hilchasa, Oif haba b'siman echad tar. If you find a bird that has one siman, tar. V'hu d'loi daras. Just make sure that it doesn't lift its food up with its hand and eat. Over here, Rashi says a different pshat. Interesting. I brought it down yesterday that Rashi says different. Over here, he says it means, Doris means he steps on his food while he eats. He doesn't hold the food. He doesn't bring the food with his hand to his mouth. Rather, you make sure the food doesn't run away. They talk about it. Why does Rashi say this here and different over there? Akopanim, what's the side? The halacha. If a bird has one kosher siman, like a person ozniyah, it's kosher, as long as it's not a person ozniyah. Oh, and it says v'udalei daris. And that's why they ask a question. What about the chickens today that they have the kosher simanim, but they daris? If that's true, I don't know. I didn't really check it. That's what they say. But what we're going to do with the original halach that we learned today, the first words that we learned today, that Rav Nachman says, provided that you know when you're mumcha what a paris and ozniyah is, and you understand their names, then one siman is okay. Otherwise, it's not okay, he says. If you don't know and we all don't know what a paris and ozniyah is, so one siman kosher won't be okay. What do you do with the Rav Nachman? So he says, like we had a few times already, and just recently we had the same lashon. Amarle lo shmieli, I didn't hear about it. Kaloimar, what does it really mean? I didn't hear it. Of course you heard it. Lo severely, I don't care about it. Why? Mayiko, what's your concern? Mishum paris v'zniya, you worry that when you eat this flamingo, it might be a paris v'zniya. Let's no be yishuv. You don't have them in where you live, they hang out in other places. They hang out in the jungle. They hang out in South Africa. They don't hang out here. Omer Rav Yehuda, oif ha-mesaret, this bird that scratches, kosher l'taharas mitzayra. Is this bird kosher or not? Question, is this bird kosher? L'chayra, it's not one of the 24, but l'chayra say it's treif. No, they say it's kosher actually. And this is one of the birds they claim that they use for the mitzayra. So now that's what we're talking about. It's called oif ha-mesaret. So what is it? Zui snunis levana. This is the swallow that we're talking about before that could fly for days, just eating, catching insects in midair. When you see them flying like crazy directions, then you know that they're probably hunting for food. And this is the white stomached one. They're all black, but they have different color stomachs. Rebbe Eliezer says it's treif, Chacham says it's kosher. Let's see a white stomached sparrow. Here we go. Oh, that's the white one. That everybody agrees is good for a mitzayra. You're allowed to eat it as well because for the mitzayra you need a kosher bird. Keep pligi. So what's the machlokes? B'diroik kresa. So I found this one, a yellow stomached one. Could be yaroik. It even has mud in its mouth, trying to build a nest maybe. Keep pligi b'diroik kresa. Rebbe says osar v'rabbanan sharu. Again, Rebbe says it's not good for the mitzayra. Oh, I should show you what a mitzayra does. So let's real quickly. A mitzayra is somebody that has tsaras and he goes through a very long process to become tar. And let's start from over here. Forget the other part. So part of the process, you take two of these birds. Now that we're saying it's the swallow, it could be also the sparrow. One you shecht and you put the blood into the water, which you're gonna sprinkle the mitzayra with. The other one you let loose. You tie him to the whole thing, cut his hair off, eyebrows, everything. Do tnufa with the. You put the blood, you put the oil on his right and left, right thumb, right large toe. You sprinkle, and the rest you put in his ear. And the rest you put on his head. Givaldik. So, Rebbe says that a yellow or a green, call it whatever you want, is asur to use and to eat. Rabban sharu, they say you're allowed to use it from mitzvah, you're allowed to eat. V'ilchasik Rabban and the sharu, it's okay. Says Gemara, I understand the lashon over here. If you say that the machlokes is in a white stomach, a white bellied. What do we call them? A swallow. That's why it says the lashon the brayso oif ha-mesaret kosher l'taharas mitzayra is v'zui snus levana shenech likuba. This is the machlokes in the white, because that's the machlokes. But if they argue in the yellow one, my zui snus levana. Why does it say zui snus levana? They argue. Oh, la puki debati du kvanti. The house snunis, the house swallow, which is a black-bellied a swallow, that one would be awesome. But the white one, there's no machlokes, in fact. So here's a super interesting halacha. Nobody would ever guess this without this Gemara. The Torah says for a carbon, what do you bring for a carbon? For a bird. There's only two types of birds that you bring for a bird carbon. Toirim ubnei yoina. So the way to remember it is bnei yoina, the sons of a yoina, meaning the babies. The baby pigeons and the adult toirim, which are very similar birds. They look similar. One is a dove and one is a pigeon. So, if I told you, could you bring a tussle? You'd say no, only a yaina and a toir. But the fact is, a tussle is a type of pigeon. Is it a pigeon or is it a dove? So says the Gemara, tussle, it's a type of a yaina. So therefore, you cannot bring him as an adult. What do you bring a yaina? B'nei yaina. It has to be a baby. But you could bring it when they're small, even though it's called a tussle. The tzifi, these are a type of dove. So they have to be adults. And the asr when they are small. It says that all the birds are pasul. What does that mean? All birds poison menichatas. Say that I have over here. Boshteito says that in order for a person to become tar, after he goes to the Levai, he touches that person, he needs to be sprinkled by the ashes of the paraduma, which are mixed in special water from a ma'ayan, from a spring, and you put the ashes in the water, and then you take the azov, which you saw, and you sprinkle them. Now, if you do a malacha with the water, you make it possible. If a bird drinks from the water and he spits some of it out into it, it's like he did a malacha with it. It's like he used it. He used it for his drinking purpose, and he spit it back again. Typically speaking, a bird, when he drinks, the way they drink is they gulp a bunch, like a dog. Like he licks it in, half of it comes down. You ever seen it drips out of his mouth? And pigeon is different. Pigeon puts his mouth on. It's like a suction. It's like a straw. It all goes in. Nothing spills out. Memela. When a pigeon drinks from the mechatos, he doesn't ruin it. But every other bird ruins it. But if it's true that a tussle is like a pigeon, so how come he's not mentioned here at all? It says, a pigeon is different because it sucks the water in. And if in fact a tussle is a type of a pigeon, listen, tussle. It's a very good question. The answer is almost better than the question, I think. I think the Gemara wanted to get to the answer, is what I'm trying to say. The Gemara says, you should know that a pigeon, he's able to suck the water in and not spit it out at all. Whereas a tussle has the same attributes as the yaino, which means he's like a vacuum cleaner. He sucks it in, but once in a while he spits it back out. We have a video of a chicken doing that. I don't know why he did a chicken. I think it's a mistake. Oh, maybe it means a regular bird does that. Okay. Yeah, but I wanted to see a pigeon, a type of a pigeon, not a rooster, sucking it in. Okay, fine. I call upon him. The yisoid is that these pigeons, a pigeon sucks it in like a straw and doesn't spit out, but the tussle does. Rav Yehuda, Hani kufshane, tzutzione, these are types of toirim. They're called kufshane, tzutzione, ksheir l'gam mizbeach. They're so kosher you can bring it onto the mizbeach. It's like a toir. These are the doves of Rechava that we spoke about before. Meisvei, we have a big problem. Yeah. Oh, well, let's just finish. Just to remind me when we say Amar Rav Yehuda. Meisvei is a smack in middle. Ezoiv. When you take a branch of Ezoiv, hyssop, right? Is it hyssop? Hyssop. Shkoyach. It should be pure hyssop. Here's the question. Where's your Cafe Turkey stuff? A Belgian waffle. I have a Shiloh, Bemet. We got to ask the Shiloh. Ask ChatGPT. What do they call a Belgian waffle in Belgium? Do they drop the Belgium? Well, I can tell you French fries, they don't call them French fries in France, right? This is huge in Eretz Yisrael, Café Turki. All the guys have to drink Café Turki. Do they drop the Turki in Turkey? Do they call it the Turkish coffee or not? So, why am I asking this? Because we're talking here about adding a name. I'll call upon him. Hold on. Sponsors in a second. Ezav Eloyezav Yavan or Yoin. Some pronounce it Yoin. Brussels sprouts. Oh, Brussels sprouts. There's different Shem Levaya, added name. So here's a way that you could tell if it's added or not. If in the place that it originates from, do they drop it? If they drop it, then it's not considered an added name. So, Ezav, you're not allowed to use Ezav Yavan, a Roman one. A Yavan is Greek. A Greek one, or a Yain, if you call it Yain, it's something else. Ezav Kachali, Ezav Raimi, that's the Roman one. The Bari, not the desert one. Anyone that has an extra name, it has to be Ezav, that's it, just one name. So, how could we use a bird when the Torah says you can use a Tyr or a Yaina? It shouldn't have any extra name. It shouldn't be called Tyr Shel Rechava. It should be called Tyr. So, two answers. Anything that's name was changed before Matan Torah, and the Torah said its name as is. If you add a name to it, then it's possible. But this Torah Shel Rechava, their name did not change at all. You're allowed to use it. Since in their place, Rechava, wherever it is, or the Tzutzani, Kufshani, they call them Tarim. That's their name, Tar. So then it's good. Then it's a Tar. It's not a Kufshani, it's a Tar. The rest of the world calls it Kufshani and Tzutzani. Right? An American eagle. In America, you don't call it American eagle. You actually do. But let's say you don't. So then it's an eagle. The rest of the world calls it an American eagle. So these birds are not called in the place. In Rechava, you don't call it a Rechava, a Tar Shel Rechava. You call it a Tar. Oh, that's exactly what the Torah says. You should bring a Tar. It doesn't have a Shem Levi. In Bnei Brak, you call it a Tar Shel Rechava. That's in Bnei Brak. But in the place itself, in Rechava, you don't call it Rechava. Therefore, you're allowed to use it. These grasshoppers of Chilfi, it's like the ones that grow in the grass, Sharu, you're allowed to eat them. Udevei Kravi, but the ones that grow with the cabbages, Asir, you're not allowed to eat them. It's not like a chumrah, you get malchus for meaning. I know for a fact that they're also mishum sheretz ha'oif. I told Shamshi was a witness. I was walking on the thing, and all of a sudden I felt something on my tongue, like a weird thing. So I took it off, and there was a dead fly. I show you the dead fly. I showed it to Shamshi. It's a kiss from Hashem, because if you eat a fly, you're over on sheretz ha'oif. If you eat a grasshopper and it's not kosher, you're over on sheretz ha'oif. All right, Zok the Gemara, guessing. Omar Avinu Matkin Elayu said, V'Omar Avi Yehuda tzrada shari, a type of bird called a tzrada you're allowed to eat. Barda asir, but the bird called a barda is asir. V'simanach bar minei. Barda and bar minei, like besides this, you're not allowed to eat this one. Marda, and the bird called a marda, sfeika is a suffix. Omar Avasi, Shmon is sfeika saying, there's 8 birds that you have a suffix, we don't know if you're allowed to eat them. What's their names? Chuva, chuga, suga, varnuga, tushlemi umarda, koichilno bar nafcha. Sounds like Rabbi Yochanan, no? What's Rabbi Yochanan's name?
Rabbi Yitzchak.
No. Rabbi Yochanan was the son of Nafcha. Bar? Okay, whatever. Says Gemara, why do these 8 birds have a suffix? What's a suffix? Because we know that a kosher bird, the siman, if it has that siman that is gizzard peels, then it's kosher. Utmeyen ain't korban niklaf. And a siman of a non-kosher bird that is his gizzard doesn't peel easily. Vahani, they're in between. Korban niklaf bisakino, with a knife it comes off. As Gemara you had this duck. They couldn't peel the gizzard. So yesterday in the video, if you remember the video, the guy said when he's peeling, he says if you want it to come off easier, you put it in the refrigerator. This is the opposite. You put it in the sun, it melts it a little bit. They put it in the sun. It became softer. It peeled off easy. So you see that you're allowed to do something to peel it off. Says Gemara, over there, you did something, you put it in the sun, but you were able to peel it with your hand. The Rafa, even though it's soft, you still need a tool. And maybe it's not kosher, maybe it's a siman of treif. The chicken of the How do you say swamp? Yeah, that's a good one. Swamp chicken. Is there such a thing? A swamp chicken is one of the 8 birds that we weren't sure. Bainu mardu. Oh, maybe it means, I saw a picture in the Sichas Chullin, maybe it meant for this, of a flamingo. Because they like swamps. They stand in one foot in water. I don't know. Omra Papa Tarnagola Dagma Asira. The swamp chicken with that sounds like a Lashon Zachar is Asr. Tarnagol Tadagma Sharia. So right away you have to ask the question, how is it possible that you have 2 birds from the same family, the male is Asr and the female is Mutter? The answer is they're not from the same family. Taisus points out right away, we do all Taisus, especially the small ones. Taisus says that they're 2 different species. One is called the Tarnagol Dagma and one is called Tarnagol. They're not the female and male version of the same thing. They're 2 different types of species. The male is Asr and the female is Mutter. Where do we see a similar thing and how can you remember it? You're not allowed to marry an Amoini, but a man is allowed to marry an Amoinis, a Giyaris. Why? Because it's the men that didn't give the bread, and it's not the derech of a woman to give bread. Darash Miremar. Tarnigolta the what? The what? Tarnigolta the Agma Asiro. Chazyu the Dars of Achla. We should maybe finish over because that's where we finished with the Israelis. V'hainu Gerusa. They saw that it actually grabs the food with its hand or whatever the pshat is in Rashi. V'hainu Gerusa, and that is the bird called a Gerusa. That later on we say that it's Osir. Okay, fine. We'll stop over here. Rabbi Sai. Have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDY.com.